Know what kind of senator I'm going to be, look at the votes that we've cast for the last almost 4 years. And for that matter, look at the family that I came from, because you could almost predict every one of those votes based on the kind of family that I grew up in. You know, neither of my parents finished college. My dad's a German immigrant. I'm a first-generation American. My mom's family homesteaded in Idaho. And they worked incredibly hard so that myself and my sisters could have the opportunities economically and education that they didn't necessarily have. And they really never asked much in return from this country. They hoped that after 30 years of paying into a mortgage, that they might actually have a modest home to retire to when they finally retired. And they hoped that after literally 4 or 5 decades of paying into Social Security and Medicare, that those things would actually still be there for them in their retirement. And when you look at this new Tea Party Republican Party, you realize that those are the values that are under attack in the House and Senate and all across this country, from Wisconsin to Washington, D.C. You look no further than this Paul Ryan Republican budget, an issue that my opponent has been avoiding for well over 400 days now, how she would have voted on that Ryan Republican budget. But to hand Medicare over to the insurance companies, the same insurance companies that mucked up our healthcare system in this country in the first place, seems to me to be incredibly, incredibly misguided. But that's where we are today. That's where this new brand of Republican Party is going to. I think we have an opportunity here to do something better and do something more. And when you consider the enormous shoes of Senator Jeff Bingaman, and not only just Jeff Bingaman, but the history that we have of incredible Senate, Democratic senators from the state of New Mexico, and what they've done not only for all of us as New Mexicans, but what they've done for this entire nation. What Dennis Chavez means to the civil rights in this country, to people all across the country, to what he was able to accomplish with the interstate highway system. People like Clinton P. Anderson and the creation of the Wilderness Act, literally the writing of Medicare to begin with in the early 60s. Our Democratic senators have had an impact, not just on us as New Mexicans, but on our entire nation to the betterment of our country. And in these challenging economic times, I think we should take a page from their book, and we should move forward in a way that actually produces results for the people of our country. And when you look at this brand new Tea Party experience in Washington, D.C., it's not about producing results. I want to go there to get things done for people. I was blessed to be in the White House last Monday. We were able to pass a piece of legislation that will mean homes and jobs for people on tribal trust lands across the western part of this country. And the most discouraging thing about that experience of seeing a piece of legislation that I've worked on for close to 4 years signed into law is that people were almost, didn't want to believe it. That Congress doesn't do that anymore. We might name a post office, we apparently can't keep them open, but we can name them. But when it comes to doing substantive legislation that actually touches people's lives, that might make it easier for someone to build a home or get a mortgage, that was no longer considered the normal business in Washington, D.C. I think that's what's wrong with Washington, D.C. today, and we're going to turn it around. And if you want to know the fundamental difference between my approach and who I am versus former Congresswoman Heather Wilson, consider this. When I was on the City Council, there was nothing I was more proud of than fighting to raise the minimum wage here in Albuquerque. Patricia Madrid stood with me at press conference after press conference as we worked to do that. I was fighting to raise the minimum wage. Heather Wilson was already in Washington. She voted 6 times not to raise the minimum wage. The failure to act at the federal level was the exact reason why we decided to take this on at the local level, at the municipal level, at the state level. 6 times she voted not to raise the minimum wage, yet 6 times she voted to raise her own salary.